Hip Hop and R&B. It's your boy Mike Mitch Ill. Special guest on the check-in right now, the very talented Kidarah. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Mike?
I'm great. I'm great. Thanks for checking in with us. Big up, Grungecake, Richard Dean. What up? So, yo, the Rainbow Rockstars in the building. Talk about your new record, your new projects. Talk about what you got going on right now.
Oh my gosh. So the Kidaverse is my new project. It is 7 songs. The single off the project is called More Fun, which is a really cool dance track. But this project, it skirts so many different genres, from pop to rock to EDM. Like, it's dope. You just gotta listen to it.
Yeah. So, how do you dip in all those bags right there? Like, without spreading yourself too thin. You said, you mentioned all the genres. Talk about that a little bit.
That's such a good question. And oftentimes I do feel like I'm spreading myself pretty thin because I have so many different loves for so many different genres. But I think the key is kind of picking 2 to 3 to stick with per song that you're kind of like fusing right there. And then getting to put a 7 song project together allowed me to bounce between different genres and explore with piecing different ones together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now it sounds very interesting. Make sure you check out the Rainbow Rockstar. Talk about that's like your nickname. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, you can see right here if you're watching the video that I've got this rainbow hair look, and I'm also pretty alternative. I consider myself a rock star. I used to be in a rock band. So, the rainbow rock star. I love myself
Right.
a good alliteration too.
Yeah. Nah, this is a great look. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, for those listening live on the radio, of course you can't watch right now, but we're gonna have the replay on, our Instagram at 929 WDP and our YouTube, you know what I mean? So you can check that out. But got Kedara in the building. So give everybody a background about yourself. How long you been doing this, some of your inspirations and all that. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, some background about me. I have been really focused on building my career since I was 15 years old. That's when I started really writing songs and producing. But I've been singing and writing since I was a little kid. Wrote my first song when I was 9.
Uh,
And yeah, um, it's been a long and crazy journey, but I'm so grateful to be on it.
all right, so what was your boss looking like at 9? You 9 years old, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you embarrassed by it? Yo, would you spit it right now? Like, yo,
When
it's a
I was
classic.
9 years old, I'm like, who broke my heart? I said, this is reality. Now, don't you see? Just let me be. You don't know how. This is reality. Won't you leave me? Can't I just be left in peace? This is reality. It's called reality.
That's a 9-year old right there. Put that there. Who
I
did
wrote
that?
that when I was 9.
Yo, that's crazy. Or like, where do you get the melodies from? Like, I forget like the content of like the melodies. Like, what inspired your melodies for that at 9 years old?
Yo, I have always just been a little rock star. Like, nobody in my family even listened to rock music, but you hear that melody and you know
Yeah.
that that needs some guitars behind it, right? I
Uh,
wrote that in the shower at 9. I got out of the shower to write it down.
man. When did you go public with your talents? You started in the shower, you know what I'm saying, as a youngin'. But then, when you actually bring it to the masses to show your talent out
Go
there.
public, go public. Okay. What of it? So I went public when I did theater, like musical theater, when I was in middle school. So that was probably the first public time that you really started to see little Kidarah singing in public. But dang, I mean, releasing my own music, that was in, I think, 2020 that I released my first single.
Mm. What single was that? And can they still check it out? I mean, you dropping these joints right here. You had a whole hook right there at 9. So, like, man, when you actually start putting stuff out online, you know what I mean? I'm sure it was a million times better. How can they check that out?
Well, I did take that song down because
Uh,
I feel like I've grown so much since
mhm.
then. But I do have one older song out. It's called One Night. I mixed and mastered it myself right after graduating school,
Yeah.
college. So that one's out right now on all platforms.
Gotcha. So, you've been trained by the Grammy Award winning artist Betty Wright. Talk about that experience. Not too many people could say that.
Yeah, rest in peace, Betty Wright.
Hmm.
She was she is legendary. She's a legend. And getting to learn from somebody so kind, so humble, and so incredibly gifted, and someone who knew how to take pain and turn it into something absolutely stunning, something beautiful. That's my experience. She said it herself. She said, no pain, no pain, no gain, you know?
Hmm.
And that's really what it's about.
Yeah. That's what's up. So how'd you guys link up? How do you guys meet?
My dad actually, he's a drummer,
Mhm.
and he was playing for her. And I think they've known each other since before I was even born. And, I expressed the want to sing when I was pretty young. So he started putting me in classes with her.
Mm, man, that's crazy. So yo, talk about I guess it's your self-described sultry sound, Talk about that a little bit. I mean, I know we addressed it, you kind of tap into all lanes a little bit, kind of like explain that in depth a little bit.
You actually broke up a little bit on my end.
Oh no, it's sultry sound. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, sultry
Yeah,
music.
yeah, sultry music. Talk about that a little bit.
So the term sultry was actually coined by Miss B, Betty Wright, and myself. Um, it's a cool term. It's spelled Soultri, and it basically represents the soul, my soul, and tree meaning try, right? In other words, three, like multiple genres, which I referenced earlier in this conversation. Kind of three is the magic number. Picking three genres to fuse per song is like the sweet spot where you can get something really cool. Um, so sultry music is just about, putting your soul and multiple genres into the music.
Yeah. Was it natural? Was it like a natural feel for you to be able to do that, or were you trying to like, what I mean, kind of consciously like try to put it together? Like I'm gonna make it work, or was it just natural for you to fit these type of genres all into one? Like talk about how the ease of that or the difficulties of that.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing, but I feel like for me, this is something that's always been happening naturally. A lot of the time, I enter the songwriting process having no idea what I want to make, and then coming out just having made something really cool. And oftentimes I look back and I go, okay, there's like three main influences here that I ended up tapping into. And so it just happened so naturally that we kind of coined that term sultry music after we identified that that was kind of what was happening as I was writing songs.
Yeah. So other than the legend Betty Wright, God bless her soul, like talk about some of your other influences, especially in other genres that we may not be up on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So growing up, I really loved the pop scene. I really love Lady Gaga. I loved early Kesha, and just all those icons, Katy Perry, right? But I also had a lot of influence from the pop punk scene, like Sleeping with Sirens, Pierce the Veil, like a lot of that screamo and just all that crazy
Yeah.
music that your parents don't want you to listen to when you're that age. But for me, it's been a little bit of like combining all of those things and all of my loves in music, and then making music that fits in a space that I always wished I could listen to from a mixed girl, with someone whose face looks like mine. So that's really what I'm trying to do.
Oh, well, so what you mix with? I'm mixed too. So I mean,
Okay.
I'm always running the flag for my mixed people out here. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I'm half black, half white, but my parents actually
gang,
told
gang,
me
word. I'm mixed
my
with her.
my parents told me that that's kind of wrong because
Word.
my dad is actually mixed as well.
Oh,
He's
okay.
he's black, darker skin, But on his side, he's Cherokee, Choctaw, Irish, and then we don't know what part of Africa he's from because our descendants are slaves.
Yep.
But then on my mom's side, I'm Russian, Hungarian, and Polish, and then my mom is also Jewish. So it's a cool little mixture.
Word. That sound like me. My mom Polish too. My dad black from Compton and all that. So yeah, it's crazy. But you know say, word. So yeah, I mean, talk about your like where you from, your upbringing. You know what I mean? Talk about like your youth a little bit. You know, you started like actually putting together bangers at 9. You know what I mean? Talk about like your upbringing and how it influenced like you as a person.
Yeah, I was born in Hollywood, Florida, which I always say, universe got it wrong Hollywood. But
Well, wrong coast.
I grew up in right, wrong coast, wrong Hollywood. Slight minor mix up. But I was raised in Boca Raton, Florida. I was very blessed to grow up there. It's a beautiful place. And the one thing though about being from a place like that, there wasn't a ton of diversity. So you kind of see all the artists that I grew up listening to, and you see me listing a bunch of people who don't reflect a lot of, the Black music, that side, hip hop, like just a whole nother culture that I just wasn't really exposed to as a kid because of where I grew up. So it all kind of makes sense when you look at, the geography of where I was.
yeah. Word. So, you talk about you're the talent. You're a writer, audio engineering as well. Talk about that, like, because like, I used to try to make beats and I ain't gonna front, like just doing the integral stuff and being the engineer as well is very difficult. How did you get into it? And how does that affect your music?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always been a pretty good student. I've always been really studious. Doing well in school wasn't that difficult for me. So pursuing, something more technical in that sense, I actually dove right into production, and engineering, I will say, was a little bit harder. I needed to go to college for that to really start to master that. And then I did have some mentorships like DC the Composer. He really helped me out, taught me a lot of what I know today about mixing. But it's just something that I kind of naturally fell into. I really started diving into that with more zest and more passion than I did like diving into learning the piano or the guitar, which I'm starting to now really start putting some energy and focus into. I'm also kind of a holistic learner. So putting the whole song together, like being able to produce a whole song rather than just play it on an instrument. Like I wanted to put it all together. I wanted to hear it finalized. I wanted to record everything. That is really what drew me to just the desire to be able to engineer my own stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's amazing that you're able to do all that, Do you engineer for others and write for others at all?
I do. Yes. I engineer at a studio called Broken Complex, owned by DJ Hoppa and Mike. And I also songwrite for other artists, incredible artist, Sydney Park. I was a writer on her project. It's not released yet, but it's going to be coming out soon. I also helped a beautiful Swedish artist. I believe she was on Swedish Idol. Her name's Nova Luther. She just had an incredible song come out called Will Be Okay. I was a writer on that as well. So, I love extending my talents and what I can do to other incredible talent just wherever I can.
Yeah, we ever feel like kind of jealous, like, all right, I wrote this record, I penned this record, and damn, I wish I would have kept it for myself. You ever feel like that a little bit? Like you would have kept certain joint for yourself? You ain't gotta say who, because I don't want you to.
I used to feel like that. I don't feel. No, I used to feel like that, and I didn't write for others when I felt like that. I don't feel like that anymore. Also, the way that I avoid feeling like that is that I get in the room or we get on a Zoom call, because obviously I didn't go to Sweden, but I write these songs with the artist, right? I don't just write a song at home and then send it out. if I'm gonna write with another artist, it's just that it's with them, not for them. Like I'm helping bring something out of them by developing a connection and a relationship and a trust in the studio.
Nah, respect that. So, yo, we're here to talk about the Kidaverse. Talk about that a little bit. You know, give me all the details about that.
Yeah, the Kedaverse is a little coin pen to my name, Kidarah.
Mm-hmm.
The Kedaverse, you got to think of it kind of like the multiverse, right? There's so many different worlds and a multiverse. You know, you think about Marvel, right? The project the Kedaverse is just the first world in my multiverse. And it's kind of hitting this one like dark, dirty pop space, alternative space. But I have so many different kinds of music that I dabble in. And with each project, with each single that gets released, you're gonna kind of see a new world almost open up in the Kedaverse. Yeah.
I can dig that. I'm all about the multiverse. I'm into all that. So word. So yo, talk about, you know, what was like your first big look, you know what I mean, on a national stage and everything like that. You know,
Big look on a
on a national
national
stage, I mean, because like, you know, you being in the Papa Roach and Trippie Redd music video, you know, and then, you know, you've been doing your own thing, you know, talk about like some of your biggest looks that you had since you've been out here doing you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, the Papa Roach video, the Trippie Redd video, I was also in Anita, Boys Don't Cry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just fun to get to work with other artists that are doing incredible music, especially Papa Roach, like having grown up listening to them. That was just iconic. And they are so nice too. It was such a fun shoot. I don't know. I mean, I'm just grateful to be out here getting to do what I love and be in the industry and be able to just meet other people in the industry, you know?
Yeah, yeah. But you also work with, and we're not gonna sweep this under the rug. It's a big deal. You also work with Rihanna, Savage, Ranty, Fenty. I said Ranty. Oh, wow. Savage, Fenty. That's really how old I am. But yeah, you know what I mean. Talk about that a little bit.
Oh, you know, Savage Ranty. I'm kidding.
Fenty, my
I'm
bad.
kidding. No, Savage Fenty. Yeah, that was a beautiful moment. Little social media collaboration. I believe that was Pride Month, so I think June of last year.
Mm-hmm.
It was just really fun. They definitely wanted to work with me because they saw the Rainbow Rockstar and they sent me a bunch of their rainbow merch. So that was just really, really cool. I mean, I grew up listening to Rihanna. So obviously getting to work with her brand in any kind of way is like,
yeah, absolutely.
so exciting.
So yo, talk about the record you pushing right now. Bad. Talk about that. Do you have a visual already for it, or do you have plans to drop one? And just talk about the record itself.
Bad. So, in terms of a visual, I do have ideas for what I want that visual to be, but I want to build a little more traction around the song before really diving into making a visual. Bad is such a cool song. It's definitely the heaviest on the project, which is why I like it, because I just love that rock and metal influence. But it's got a feature on it. His name is Stilo Badeau. He's also a producer on the entire project. So you definitely need to check it out if you have not heard it yet. Geez, what more is there to say? It's a fire song. Just listen to it.
Yeah, we gonna let that joint fly as soon as we wrap this interview up. Yeah, we here with Kedara right here. You know what I mean? It's not WDUP. Talk about any upcoming shows you may have, tours, anything of that nature.
Upcoming right now, we are working to get them booked. So unfortunately, I don't have any coming up yet.
Hey, so like anybody out there listening, how can they get at you?
Some more PR coming up.
Okay, but
how
like
can they get at me?
Word. Like say, here, we gonna let these songs fly, but like, if anybody want to get a hold of you to book you for a show or anything of that nature, how can they get a hold of you?
Yes, if you want to get a hold of me to book me for a show, you can definitely check out my Instagram. That's at Kidarah, Kidarah. And definitely make sure you check out my manager as well at Richardine Barty or Grungecake. Okay, we're the two people to hit up. She's also listed on my Instagram bio, so definitely hit us up if you want to get us, if you want to book anything like that.
So yeah, so word on the streets, you related to somebody famous, very famous, you know what I mean? Do you want to discuss that or like nah, you know what I'm saying? I was coming in from the check-in right there, you know what I'm saying? You want to discuss that at all?
Okay. Okay. Are we talking about, well, I don't know if she's technically not my stepsister anymore because there was a divorce. But I grew up my whole life with the wonderful Joss Stone as my stepsister. She actually, I just saw that she is dropping a Christmas project. So that's pretty cool. So I'm excited about that. So you should definitely check it out. I love Joss. I grew up looking up to her. I don't know. What do you want to know?
Oh, nah, just to get that. We ain't trying to like do the deep dive or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Just wanted to bring it up real quick. But
yeah. On a technicality, I guess technically we're not related anymore. But my whole life growing up, it wasn't hers. But for me, since I was a little kid, I grew up with her as my stepsister. So that was a really cool experience.
So yeah, so like since you've been on the scene, like talk about some of the challenges, individually, you had to face on your come up.
Yeah. One of the biggest challenges is like relationships with people. Like sometimes people will just willingly jump off your ship for what seems like no reason, or I don't know. It's just the weirdest thing. Relationships with people in this industry can be really difficult, and not everybody, there are some good people, but so many people just seem to have an ulterior motive or another agenda. And so you have to get really good about identifying good traits within people and toxic traits within people right when you meet them.
Right.
It can be tough.
So yeah, so this question got to be asked, the rainbow rock star, you know what I mean? You're attractive, talented woman. How do you kind of like, what's going on with your love life? You know what I mean? The listeners out there want to know if you got a boo-boo out there. And, if you do, how do you navigate, pursuing your career? And if you're single, how do you navigate from that standpoint as well? Or if you want to discuss that, just like, yo, next question.
I'll leave it at this. I am a career-driven young woman, and that is 100% my number one focus right now. And that's really the only thing that I have the time or the energy to care about.
All right, boom. There, I try to help y'all out, fellas, man. You got to support a career. Carry the bag or something at the airport. You know what I mean? You got to sing background vocals. You know what I'm saying? like, it's just crazy because, like,
Pretty
yo,
much.
do you think it's tough, like, living a normal life? Pursuing a career in entertainment?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not a regular girl, so trying to have a regular life doesn't make any sense. You don't get to have a regular life when you're not trying to be a regular person, when you just aren't a regular person, right? Like I'm not satisfied with just doing, I'm sorry if you can hear my cats in the background. They're a little noisy right now.
Nah, it's faint. You good. You straight.
But yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought, but I'm just trying to be, I'm trying to level up every day and finding people who are on that same wavelength, let alone somebody that I connect with, want to be in a relationship with, right? Like just finding friends and people that I want to work with like that is hard enough. So I don't put a lot of pressure onto myself about anything like that. I just try and stay focused on the career, and the people who want to be in my life, they'll make that apparent.
Well, outside of music, entertainment, you have any endeavors going on? Anything you be working on outside of this whole entertainment thing?
Yeah. So I've been working recently with a startup brand called Privy. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this on the radio, Can I say that? No. It's like a smoke company
Oh,
and
you got.
also a clothing line.
Mhm.
But
So
they're
you get some smoke and some clothes. Yeah, you can say you talk about that.
yes.
Yeah, what?
Yes.
It's
Okay.
legal out here.
We'll say
All right.
smoke. We'll
It's
say
legal out here.
smoke.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So they're based up in Seattle,
Mhm.
which is just super dope. They're an incredible brand. And right now we're working on designing a clothing line with them. And so some cool stuff is in the works. I don't want to say too much about it, but definitely go ahead and check out Privy, Privi, Privy brand on Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we about to get to the bad record. We about to let a couple songs fly. You know what I'm saying? But like anything else you want to say to the public, you know, about your project, anything else you got going on, the floor is yours.
Man, you know what? Thank you so much for listening to this interview. Thank you so much for listening to my music and for giving me a chance. Mixed alt girls exist. Okay, we are here. We are making the music for you and we are making good music for you. So make sure you check it out. And Rainbow Rockstar, okay? That's all there
Oh,
is to
word.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. We gonna get to the bad record. I want you to introduce it while I cue it up.
Okay. What up? It's the one and only Rainbow Rockstar, and this is my new single, Bad.